My name is Adelaide Johnson. If I never found Heights students, I probably wouldn't be here anymore.
My name is Ben Mullins, and if I never found Heights students, I think I'd be really lonely.
My name is Lena Hunt. If I never found Heights students, I don't think I would be here today.
Before I started coming to Heights students, my life was very isolated and very depressing. At the time, my mom was married to my foremost stepdad, and he was very toxic, and he would just say things that would hurt me, and that led to me feeling like I was worthless and I never had a place in that house.
I had kind of grown up in church my entire life. I'd never it wasn't like I was really lost at one point and church came into my life midway and saved me. It was kind of like church was never an option. I had always just gone to church, and I'd always known that God was the right thing, but I never really I didn't really understand it deeply.
Before I started coming to Heights students, I was in a really bad place mentally. I was extremely depressed. I felt alone all the time. I felt like I didn't really have anyone. I was kind of always in my room. I shut myself off from everyone. I used to be really outgoing and social, and then it just, over time, I just became extremely depressed, and I just kind of shut down.
What led up to me going to the mental hospital was being isolated and the idea that no one understood my emotions. So I didn't want to be alive anymore, so I tried to commit suicide twice in the span of 1.5 months.
Even after I had made the decision to accept Christ into my life, I struggled with a lot of insecurity, and I was hanging out around the wrong people at school. They were doing all these really bad things that I picked up. It was a really bad habit, and was a really bad decision that I made that I knew I shouldn't have been doing, but I did anyways.
My view on God was that I didn't think he was real. The idea that I had of God was that he was a God that brought happiness and joy, and I just thought, well, God hasn't given me happiness and joy. I'm just going through a ton of things, so why would he be real? He wouldn't give an 11-year-old this.
I always just felt sick to my stomach because I was keeping so many things away from everyone that I felt like no one actually knew the real me at that point. I was just a complete fake person, and I was pretending at school, but I feel like I had to be the same as everyone there, and that caused a lot of conflict in my life because what everyone else was doing was definitely not the right thing to be doing.
During my 6th and 7th grade year of middle school, I was extremely depressed. I wanted to find ways to cope that weren't healthy, and I started to self-harm and cut myself. And I really did that because I felt like if I did that, it would make me feel better. It would make me feel like, I wasn't taking up as much space if I was cutting everything away.
When I left the hospital, my dad, a week after, was like, there's this burn that I feel like God has been calling me to bring you to. And at the time, I still didn't have a relationship with God or even believed he was real. In the burn, a family friend named Judge Lowe pulled me aside and was talking about how he knew, what I was going through, and that his wife went through the same thing. And he showed me a letter that he never showed anyone before, and it was of his wife writing a letter about what she went through, and it was very similar to what I went through. The letter was very moving and changing, and a very important part of where I am today.
I came home from school It was pretty late into the school year, and the principal had called my mom, which was a regular daily basis, and my mom was just so upset. She was crying, and she was like, I'm done with every single day. We get a call from the principal, and it's every single day, it's the same thing or it's another thing, adding on to a list of 1,000 different things that you've done. And I just felt like she said that she knows this is not me, and she just didn't know what to do, and she was so upset, and I could see it, and it made me so like angry and upset but sad with myself, and I really realized what I'd done with my life, and I cried out to the Lord, and I prayed and asked him to help me through this, and I just had no idea what to do, and he did. He helped me.
I have a best friend named Zoe, and there was a night we were having a sleepover, and I remember we were just kind of doing each other's makeup, watching movies, listening to music, and hanging out. And I'd always told Zoe everything, but there was things I kept from her. I remember this one night, she was doing my makeup, and I just started bawling my eyes out. And she was like, "Did I hurt you? Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" And I remember I told her everything. I told her about how I was self-harming and how I was cutting myself and how I would wake up and wish I didn't. And she confided in me and really told me, like, I understand where you're coming from. Like, I've been through that. I'm going through that. And we kind of talked about it. And I remember her mom came in and was like, "Why are you crying? Are you okay? Like, did something happen?" And I remember just bawling. And I told her mom everything as well, and I felt a big pressure lifted off of my shoulders. I remember we all kind of were just sitting on the floor hugging each other as I'm crying, and we're all starting to cry. And her mom just kind of started praying over me, and I think that was kind of the first time I realized, like, I'm not broken. I'm not too far gone to be saved. I'm not done. I'm not finished. I still have a reason to do things, to be here. And I mean, that night is really the whole reason I started believing.
When I came to Heights, just everyone made me feel at home and allowed me to be myself there.
Heights Students has helped me by kind of just giving people around me to be able to share my things, everything that's been going on. It felt so good to just get everything out and finally tell someone, especially my parents, what had been going on in my life that I had been keeping from them for so long. And they were just really like open to help me and to get me through what had been going on.
And I kind of just really focused on like getting better. Like, I didn't want to be in this hole anymore. I actually wanted to live and feel happy, and I didn't want to like wake up every morning wishing that I didn't and wishing that I could just go back to bed and not wake up. And I really started focusing on myself. And then I remember I found Heights, and I started going, and it changed everything.
Everyone was just so energetic and so ready to give God all that they have, and it's just so nice and it was so nice to be somewhere where people aren't judging other people and they're there for you and they're fun and they're inviting.
Since I've been coming to Heights Students, I feel like I've experienced God's presence because people will get up and share things that I'm like, oh wow, I really needed to hear that. That relates to me a lot, and I feel like if that person can get through that, then so can I.
You go into a small group and it's like you have all of these different teenagers around you who have been through what you've been through, and they understand, and it's kind of just a time for all of us to reflect on everything going on, and we get to be in an area where we all can talk about God and our struggles and how sometimes we don't feel very close to him, but we know that he's there. I think that was really what broke me out of my shell and brought me to like wanting to participate, wanting to get up and dance around and, participate in the games and go to one nights. And I think that's really what started making me want to go more.
The biggest areas of my life that are different now are the confidence that I have to be myself and to be outgoing and open. And having so many friends in that I have people to talk to about what I'm going through and I don't have to feel ashamed about it.
I feel a lot more happy now with my life and just myself, and I feel less pressured and feel less anxious about everything, and I feel like me.
I think it's just seeing other people's life change in front of my eyes. Like seeing how so many people in the church are, achieving so many different things and getting to new points in their life. It's just like, if God can do it for them, God can do it for me. And it's like, go to students, go to church, sign up for serving, do whatever you can just to be surrounded more by God and around God's people. And it's changed my life from, always being surrounded by broken to now wanting to be surrounded by the people who I know love and care about me.
I hope that other people will take away from this, that God will pick you up from where you are and show you other things that He has in store for you, even if you're in your darkest moment, that there's always somewhere that you can be and somewhere that God will be with you.
I really hope that everyone watching this will take away the fact that you really, really, really just need to open up to somebody, because it feels so good for all the weight that you've been carrying on you, of things that you've been hiding, that you don't think people will accept you if you tell them what's been going on. It feels so good to just tell somebody and be like, this is what I'm struggling through, and they're gonna help you through it.
For anyone watching, I hope the one thing that you can take away from my testimony is that you're not too broken to be saved. You're not too far gone to be loved and healed. And you have a purpose for being here. You have a purpose to change your life and change other people's lives. You're not too far gone. And you're loved not even just by others around you, but by someone who created you perfectly.